Everyone, it's Tim from Libertarian Advisor, and just driving into work, realized that I don't have a lot of time now with the new baby to get to work as early as I'd like, which means it's harder for me to do videos and to write blogs and content. And I feel like a lot of times I get about 90% of the way there on something, and I'm just not able to quite finish, exactly what I want to crystallize, because I don't want to put out crap material out there. But first off, what an amazing game last night. I'm not a huge football fan. I probably couldn't tell you more than maybe 20 players' names in the entire league. But I was happy to see the Patriots win, mainly because everybody didn't want them to win, and because my wife is from Connecticut. So happy wife, happy life. But one of the things I don't talk about very much on here is actually the Libertarian Party. And I think a big reason for that is because I started my page, right around the time that I had completely wrote them off. Now, I'm sure some of you've heard the story and, all the pieces, and, at this point, I don't really feel like rehashing it, but, I did give the Libertarian Party, a chance. I was, having like a multi-flank approach where, I wanted to have either Rand Paul or Donald Trump from the Republicans. Other than that, I don't think I probably would have voted for anybody. And, the Democratic Party was, a complete lost cause at that part. And then with the with the Libertarians, I honestly gave them a very good chance. And, I was pushing for it. I was pushing for Gary Johnson. I did like what he was saying, particularly in the 2012 campaign. I thought he did a great job. And maybe he got 1 or 2% of the vote, and I think he, did a good job, stuck to principles. Didn't really say, a whole lot, because I think every time I saw him on TV, he was just saying stuff like, 50 laboratories of innovations, and kind of repeat a bunch of, maybe Ron Paul talking points left and right. But, still, he stuck to principles, didn't do things that were outside the realm. And, this year, I was, still, I was advocating, that if someone was going to vote for Hillary, hell, give Gary Johnson a chance, give him a chance. And really, where things started to go wrong is I remember being at my in-laws' house, and I was, they were big, Democratic Party people, and, I was trying to tell them to give the Libertarians a chance, and all of a sudden, I go and I DVR'd the first CNN town hall, and they're asking, words to describe Hillary, and it's, like great person, and words to describe Obama, and it's, excellent politician or excellent statesman, and then words to describe Donald Trump, and it's, huckster, con man. And so, I don't know how there's any, I don't know what the right word is for, but I don't know how there's, how you can say that about Donald Trump, but then not say that about Hillary Clinton. So at least, be intellectually honest. And that's not what people who are, Libertarian based want to hear. Nobody wants to hear how great Hillary Clinton is from the Libertarian Party. I know maybe you're trying to, get all the Bernie bros, over, and by you, Gary Johnson and Bill Weld. But that's not the winning message. And I still didn't completely write you off even at that point. And then, I heard the whole, we're going to force gays to, we're going to force people to bake, cakes for gay weddings. And, should you bake a cake at a gay wedding? You probably should. But should you be forced to? No, you shouldn't. If you were, what if a black bakery, if somebody from the KKK went there and said, hey, I want to have, some sort of like N-word on the cake, and, should the government force you to bake that cake? I think the answer should be no. I think if the government forces you to do anything, more than likely the answer should be no. Let the market take care of it. If the Jews had if a Jewish bakery shop, someone came in there and, some neo-Nazi and wanted to have some pro-Hitler cake designs, should they be forced to do that? Absolutely not. So, while you may seem like a, good bleeding heart, hey, we, in a good society, we should force people to do this stuff because it's, right and decent. Well, in a society that is actually free, you shouldn't be forcing people to do anything, and you should let the market take care of it. If it comes out that, certain bakery shop doesn't want to bake cakes for people who are gay or gay weddings, then let the market take care of it. Have that community just flood them with negative requests, and pretty soon they're going to be out of business or be forced to start baking cakes for gay weddings because the market is going to take care of it. You shouldn't have the government trying to mandate everything. And really, what is the government mandating? And this is great because I didn't really have any script today, so didn't think I'd be necessarily getting into all this. But what is the government mandating some sort of entity to do something? What does that really mean? What it means is you've got to have a law that needs to be enforced, which means you have to have somebody with a gun to then be able to enforce that law. So when it's all the liberals who don't want any guns, but yet they do want guns. They just want the state to have the monopoly on the guns. And guess who that monopoly is now? The monopoly man is now Donald Trump, who he could be the one to get all the guns. Do you guys want to give up all your guns now and have Donald Trump get all your guns? Again, I'm not saying this where I think Trump is some sort of, fascist that everybody else makes him out to believe. But the point being is, you guys said, Hitler, you guys as in liberals said, we could never have a Hitler in America. And here's some asshole cutting me off. So, in America, you could never have a Hitler. But yet now everyone's saying that the same guy, the same country that could never have a Hitler, just elected Hitler. So, this is not even, a year or two later when I was making these arguments. But, kind of getting back to Gary Johnson, that wasn't even the final straw for me. So, in a lot of instances it was, the people would interview Gary Johnson and people would interview Bill Weld, and they would say, libertarians believe this, libertarians believe this, and then constantly you'd have those two clowns up there saying, well, yeah, libertarians believe this, but, I think this, but libertarians believe this, but I think this, but I think this, but I think this, but I think this. Well, then what are you guys? It's like you're a hodgepodge of all these, trying to appease to all the liberal voters by saying, yes, you're forced to bake these gay cakes, and yeah, we should use the government's strong arm to do this, and yes, women should definitely always have the ability to always have abortions. Well, there should be no limits on it. Well, maybe I don't want to necessarily get into that issue right this second, but things come down to state rights, things come down to individual wills. We should be decentralizing as much as power, and we should be giving, taking away as much power from the federal government as possible, and prove to them that they're delegitimate. And then we've got Donald Trump, who is doing just that. Donald Trump is trying to take power away from the federal government, and that's the exact opposite of what a fascist would do. But the absolute last straw for the Libertarian Party was in August when you had Bill Weld made, and I've got it on my YouTube channel, a video where he said something to the effect of, handgun, AR-15s are incredibly dangerous, and even more dangerous are the handguns, and we need to have some sort of limit, and maybe 5-round max capacity. And that's about the most antithetical thing to libertarianism there is possible. But you've got guys who are, chairing the Libertarian Party, guys who are, thinking, oh my God, Bill Weld, he knows people who are really rich, and we're going to get all this money. But what you've done is you've completely sold out. You guys are taking victory laps, getting 4%. I was more proud of the party when you guys got 2% with Gary Johnson running on a much more principled message in 2012 than I am this crap, because I see people who are out there who've never voted, and a lot of you are probably on my channel. A lot of you have probably never voted Libertarian. A lot of you probably aren't registered Libertarian. Right now, I don't think even I'm registered Libertarian. I have been several times in the past, but I was pushing for Rand Paul, so I wanted to, show him support. And then I really I was, on the website to go change my registration back, and, I was thinking about it. Does the Libertarian Party even deserve my support right now? Because, clearly, people, are still trying to take victory laps on this past campaign when, I think it's hard to even believe, but I think the Libertarian Party was set back, probably at least 8 to 10 years because of the antics of Bill Weld and Gary Johnson. And that was a hard thing to do. It was a hard thing to F things up that bad. But, congratulations, guys. You did manage to be able to pull that one off. Hold on just a second here. Just trying to merge onto the highway. But yeah, so you've got Bill Weld and Gary Johnson saying a lot of things that aren't libertarian at all. And for me, I mean, the biggest thing is, when it comes down to the Second Amendment, if you're not going to support that, then what good is there even? What good is there? And you've got a lot of libertarians who I think are discrediting themselves, saying that there's no difference between Trump and Hillary. I mean, maybe you think that 6 months ago, if you were living underneath a rock and you just wanted to stay in your echo chamber and, you reach out to your other 10 friends who all think the same thing, so that way you guys can all feel good about yourselves. Well, the fact of the matter is now is that would you have people freaking the F out right now if they were exactly the same? I mean, would you have this, mass hysteria that's going on if they were exactly the same? Would you have the entire power structure just losing their effing minds if they were exactly the same? And who is the power structure? I mean, the power structure would be the fascist. And if the fascists, which are the, let's say the big corporations, the people who, basically want to drive down wages, who want to, basically screw everybody over for their own gain. If they all hate Trump, then doesn't that tell you that Trump is probably not a fascist? But I'm not here to give a history lesson today, but it's just absolutely crazy. So if the Libertarian Party wants to get anywhere, there needs to be a complete disavowal of everything that went on in this past campaign. I don't care that you got 4% of the vote and that you doubled your previous vote total, because you did it off the backs of the two least popular candidates ever. You could have put Mickey Mouse up there and probably could have got more of a vote total than Bill Weld and Gary Johnson. So I think, there's a lot of people at the grassroots who do realize that, but there's a lot of people who maybe just started getting involved in libertarianism who now maybe they see this muddied message that Bill Weld and Gary Johnson gave, and what we need to say is, that's not the message. It's not Libertarian Party believes this, but I guess with that said, there are certain things that, I disagree with, because I think a lot of times, the libertarians get very, very tunnel focused, and they aren't able to really realize, the bigger picture, especially with trade. When a lot of people keep saying, that's another thing, Gary Johnson endorsed the TPP, which, unless you've actually read some of the WikiLeaks of the TPP and actually know what's going on with it, if you haven't read it, if you don't know what's in it, then you shouldn't be commenting on it. Let's just lay that out there as a basic premise. But with free trade, this was not a free trade bill. This was